Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products, and if you're new here, well, that's exactly what I do. Now recently, well actually in the last 4 or 5 days, I picked up the Canon RF to 24 to 105 f4 to 7.1 STM IS lens. My gosh, I'm surprised I got that all in one go. It's basically a kit lens that is normally sold as something like the Canon RP, and here it is. And I've got it fitted to my RP. It's a full frame lens, and I purchased it because I was looking for a really compact, lightweight, a lens I could travel with and go out and about with. Now, I purchased it purely because it's a very lightweight lens, and I wanted a nice lightweight compact lens I could use when I go out and about with my brother, and we go sightseeing. I don't want to be lugging around heavy equipment. I like to get decent images, but I don't want to be taking heavy equipment with me. And this on the Canon RP is as light as you're going to get with a full frame body, and it's a really useful range. It's as wide as 24 and it goes right through to 105. Now when I watch reviews online, I think we all look at reviews online, that's why you're watching this video. It's a review of this lens. There's been lots of criticisms about this lens. Basically, it's a very slow aperture. Some people say the image quality isn't very good, and some people say the image quality is as good as you would get from the L series lenses. So it's a real mixed bag of reviews. I looked at it in two ways. A, it's a really cost-effective lens. I almost use the word cheap lens, but it's a really cost-effective lens, and it's a really light and compact lens. So you are going to suffer with aperture because of its compact size. You can't get away with that. If you want an f2.8 lens, A, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and B, it's going to be a lot heavier, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and also I didn't want a lot of weight. But the images, I'm going to go through some of these images on my computer. I'm astounded. The image quality is great. It might be a plastic, well, not might be, it is. It's a plastic lens, but Canon haven't sacrificed image quality. I genuinely don't believe that they have. If you're looking for a decent travel lens and you can handle the fact that its telephoto end, it only goes down to 7.1, which is quite restricting in some scenarios, then I would say go for this lens. You're not going to be disappointed. I mean, the weight of this combination, the lens and the body together, the Canon RP anyway, I mean, it's only, well, it's 895 grams. It's not even 1 kilogram. So, that to me says it all. I can put this in my kit bag with maybe a little compact camera, and away I go. Now, the lens does trombone when you zoom. That is common actually with vast majority of lenses these days. And on the side there, you've got your image stabilization switch, either have it turned on or turned off. I tend to leave it turned on. It's got 5 stops of image stabilization, and again, that to me is really useful, particularly on the Canon RP, as the RP has no in-body image stabilization, unlike the R7, which is an APS-C body, I know, but the R7 has image stabilization, the R6, the R5, so on and so forth. But the R and the RP have no image stabilization, so it's great that it's in the lens. I've been able to get down to about 1/10 of a second and still get sharp images using this lens and this body, and I'm more than happy with that. That suits me down to the ground. So you've got on the side there the switch for your image stabilization, and you've got your control ring switch. Now that's a kind of a curious one. It's either got focus or control ring. So control ring is basically this ring here. Now, as I say, it can either be focus or control ring. Now I've got it set to control ring, and I've got it set in me ISO. So very quickly, I've got it up to my eye, or I'm looking at the monitor. I can change the ISO just by turning the ring. I tend not to adjust ISO. I leave it in auto ISO vast majority of the time, because this camera works great in auto ISO. The only caveat I find with this particular switch, when it says manual focus and you switch it to manual focus and you actually turn the dial, it still doesn't focus. You have to go into the camera body and still set the body to manual focus. I find that a little bit annoying. I would have thought once you switched it to manual focus, then the camera body should know that you want to manually focus with that lens, but it doesn't. You still have to set the body to manual focus. Not a big issue because I don't do manual focusing very often, but you know, it is, you know, that is an issue with that. Although manual focusing on the Canon cameras is great. I actually done a video, I'll put a link up here somewhere, I think it's up here, to how good the manual focus works on Canon bodies, and take a look at that video, find that very interesting. So yeah, that's the lens itself. Now, it is an RF mount lens. It's designed for full frame RF bodies. It won't work on Canon EF mount bodies or the M mount bodies. It is purely designed for the RF bodies, but it'll work on the new RF APS-C bodies, such as the R6 and the R10. Oh, sorry, the R7 and the R10. These model numbers, I do half get confused. It's the R7 and the R10. I've actually used it quite successfully on my little R10. My R10's up there filming a generic wide shot, and I love that. I've got fitted to about the 16mm full frame RF lens. That's about 25mm on APS-C body. That's just getting a generic wide shot. My close-up shot, actually, out of interest, is my Nikon Z5 with a new 28-75 lens. I've just done a review of that lens. It'll be up here somewhere. A link to that will be up there somewhere. And then I got me Panasonic GH5 with the Panasonic Leica 12-60 lens on over getting the wide shot, and then the close-up shots here being picked up on my little Sony ZV-1. So yeah, so that's the lens, and what we'll do is go through some of the images I've taken with this lens. And as I say, the sharpness is great, the colour rendition is great. The biggest issue with it that you may have is its aperture range. But again, that keeps the price down, and that keeps the size and weight down by the fact that it is quite a limited aperture range. So if you're looking for bokeh, or you want to use this as a portrait lens, it's not the ideal portrait lens, because f7.1, you're not going to throw the background out of focus terribly well. But it does do it. It depends on how you set it up to do it. So it's not a great portrait lens because of that aperture range. You really do want a lens that goes down to f2.8 or f1.8 to, you know, be able to throw the background nicely out of focus. But as a general purpose travel lens, I think it's ideal. Now, the lovely thing also with the modern cameras, you can crank up the ISO to compensate for the lack of aperture, because sometimes you don't want to reduce the shutter speed too slow, particularly if you're taking photographs of moving subjects. But you can crank the ISO up without sacrificing image quality. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about it being an f4 to 7.1. My biggest concern was image quality and sharpness. And if we have a quick look at the images here, there is no question that the image quality is great. And as I said, some reviewers have said it's pretty equal to the L mount, apart from, we'll keep saying, of this aperture restraint. But you know, the image quality is lovely. I was surprised myself how good the image quality is. I mean, look at that, that is sharp. That is just so sharp. I'm going to spin through these because there's no point in studying them. You can study them on my Flickr page, but again, the sharpness, the colours, edge to edge sharpness, absolutely perfect. Perfect, you know, no complaints whatsoever. So that's at 24mm. That's at its widest, just double check that is. That's at 24mm, yeah, and then that is at 105mm. You know, so you know, what a great range. It's a great range to have, you know, on your camera body as just your standard lens. So it'll cover all sorts of scenarios with that one lens. You know, don't have to keep swapping lenses out. And you're going to get great quality and great clarity. But you can see here, it's not really throwing the background out of focus a great deal. So, you know, just bear in mind that you're not going to get tremendous separation between the subject and the background. But you'll get lovely sharpness. I mean, look at the clarity of that. Absolutely gorgeous. So, and the clarity of those leaves. Beautiful. Canon colours are so nice, but you can see here, you know, when you're in quite close, you can throw the background out of focus quite nicely. So it will do it under certain, certain conditions. So, again, look at that apple. I mean, that is so sharp. That is just so good. And the background is nicely out of focus. And it's a nice rendition. It doesn't look ugly. It doesn't look, untidy. It's a nice softness. And that I do like. So, yeah, great all-round lens. And as for me, it's awesome. Because I do suffer with bad shoulder and a bad back, having a combination like this that is so light, I love using this because I enjoy taking this out. Also, it's quite discreet because the camera body is quite small, the lens is quite small. I find it quite discreet. If you are in locations where there's a lot of people, they're not really going to take much notice of you taking photographs with a combination that's as small as this. So yeah, great lens, great combination, a great travel lens. As I said earlier, I wouldn't be concerned about it being an f4 to 7.1 lens unless you are looking at getting that creamy bokeh and you want to do portraits. Then you would need another lens. It's got an STM motor for focus, so the focusing is quick, it's snappy, and as you can see by these images, it is sharp. So picks a focus point up easily and you get really nice sharp images. Again, there you can clearly see it's thrown the background out of focus nicely there. So it does that really well. And as I say, I will leave these images up on my Flickr page and you can study them there rather than study them here. Then you make up your own mind whether you think it would be the ideal lens for you, or a cheap travel lens, and that's what I would use it for. I would probably, when I go out, I would probably just take two lenses. I would take this one, which is obviously I would keep on the camera body, and I would take the 16mm lens, which I've already reviewed. I'll leave a link up here somewhere to the review of my RF 16mm lens, and that'd be great. And that's an f2.8 lens, so that'd be great again in low light if you want to get really nice wide angle shots. It's a tiny lens. I can't show it to you. It's on me Canon R10 up there, but great lens. So that is so compact. Throw that in the bag with this and you don't need any more than that. You can get sharp images at slow shutter speeds because of the image stabilization in the lens, and that works great with the Canon 16mm, although that has got no image stabilization. Because it's an ultra wide lens, it doesn't suffer so badly not having image stabilization in the body, but you still need to set slightly faster shutter speeds. So there we go. That's the Canon RF 24 to 105 STM f4 to 7.1 lens. I hope you found that useful. I will leave links in the description below to where you can buy this from. There'll be an Amazon affiliate link. But if you do enjoy this video, please subscribe. It really does help me grow the channel. And hit the like button if you like the content of my videos. I really appreciate that. And you particularly like the content of this video. That would be really helpful. So thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos relating to video photography, podcasting, audio gear, so on and so forth. Cheers for now. Bye.